of our city that a lot of, unless you work there, you rarely get to see.
You know what really surprises me, Bruce, is that it seems to me that there's always new neighborhoods that are emerging as kind of go-to places
Yeah,
in the
Yeah.
city, and I'm thinking about I don't know, the Junction or even Queen
definitely,
West,
sure.
Queen,
Oh,
West all the way to Roncesvalles
yeah,
now, or Roncesvalles Village. I mean Leslieville. I
yeah.
mean, it
You
just
know,
keeps
20
going on
years
and on.
ago, some neighborhoods you just would not go to. Look at Corktown. I mean, Parliament and King. I mean, some of those old shacks at one time were built as famine Irish shacks where you might have had 10, 20 families living in these old clapboard homes. And the ones that are still standing, they were built for maybe $800, $900, 130 years ago, are now going for a half a million, $750,000. The same home. And that's the next big neighborhood is Corktown. Yet 20 years ago, you would never want to. You didn't even want to walk through that
And
neighborhood.
where
No,
exactly
yeah,
is
where,
that?
yeah.
King and Parliament
Oh,
area.
that's called Corktown?
Yes, named for the Catholic Irish who left from County Cork in Ireland during the potato famine, where 1 million people starved to death and another 1 million come to the New World,
Okay.
and many thousands and thousands settled in Toronto.
Rontonsville, I know, is getting popular in that whole area. I have another question for you. Because of fuel prices, predictions are that instead of taking vacations, many families will be doing staycations this
Yes,
summer.
that'll be good for me.
And then they'll have time to explore
Yes.
Toronto in its entirety. I mean, you're mentioning things today I didn't even know about, and I
Right.
like to get around and see different things. So you've given me some tips on some things to see. What would be one thing if I was coming to
Yeah.
Toronto or doing my stay vacation?
Right.
What would be one thing or one area that you would say, oh, must see, and not a typical tour?
No, the St. Lawrence Market, we run a food tasting tour through the market.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And you get to have different foods from around the world inside the market, and you get to have a tour behind the scenes of the market, because that's the old city hall of the city. A lot of people don't know that Toronto's first city hall is still standing within St. Lawrence Market.
Oh,
And in the
really?
basement of that city hall is an old jail that still has the chains in the wall when it was built, before we were
Ah,
a democracy,
that'd be fun to see.
1844.
I hear Stephen Harper's getting that ready for use again.
Well, they're pumping couple $1 million into the
Yeah, and
redoing Union
Sure.
Station.
And Don Jail also is being redone.
Yeah, as an
Redoing all the jails.
event venue.
Yes.
Right? They're going to be renting
Yes,
it out.
yes,
That's
yes.
my first choice of
You
where I'd
know,
like
sure,
to get
and
married.
they'll hang
You know,
out.
have a great party in the jail.
No.
You know. So what are they converting the cells over to?
Well, the old courthouse, which is now Tironi's Restaurant on Adelaide, they've turned their jail cells in the basement into. There's a wine cellar in one of them, and others are washrooms, and the bars are still on the wall. It's fascinating.
It's
to
great.
go.
You should go down there, Jeanette, because I hear they even have a cask of Amontillado down there.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's not being used as a jail anymore.
No, these were
mean, how-
horrible jails at one
Right.
time.
So it must take millions of dollars to restore them to a use where people would want to see them and go and spend
Well,
money
yeah,
there.
sure. I mean, there's also underneath the King Edward Hotel, there is a unused stable that was never used because when the hotel opened in 1903, the car was slowly taken over, and Mr. Gooderham, who built the Gooderman Awards Distillery, built the King Edward Hotel. Underneath Victoria Street is this massive, never used remains of an old stable and train station. He
Wow.
wanted to have his private train come from Union Station underneath the city right into his hotel, but it was never finished, and that is spectacular. That is
Yeah, that
underneath
sounds
the
great.
street. I've only seen it once myself. It's really there's so much that is buried beneath the city that we just don't know about.
It reminds me of that show, Cities of the Underworld. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
it on
yeah,
TV.
no,
I
yeah.
mean, have they done one on Toronto?
No, they haven't, and there's lots that we could do here. There's, the oldest sewer in Toronto is on George Street downtown, 1842, and that's still pretty much intact.
Wow.
That's
Now, do you show these on your walking
no,
tours?
I wish I could. I mean, I've shown a few of the abandoned ballroom at the King Eddie, the old Crystal Ballroom on the top floor, which
Oh,
is
that
a
sounds
block
nice.
long, and
It's all crystals?
it had 3 huge crystal chandeliers, which were long gone. But they have this abandoned ballroom that is one of the most beautiful rooms in the city.
At the King Eddie?
At the King
Why
Edward.
are they not using it at all?
No, they closed it in the 1970s, when people's tastes were changing, people now wanted to have their weddings and banquets in country clubs. They didn't want to have them in old-fashioned ballrooms. So they closed the ballroom, completely forgotten about. The old wooden floor was sold, the chandeliers were sold. So they've opened it up a few times since then for Doors Open, Toronto Doors Open. I've done a few tours up there.
Oh, I
I did
wanted to
actually
do
a
one of
Mother's Day
those,
tour
actually.
up there. And it's quite something to see. And I heard that they're going to renovate it because it's a magnificent
Yeah.
room. I mean, it's 3 stories tall and a whole city block long.
Wow.
And everything old is new again, and all these walking
Oh, that
tours.
phrase you like.
Yeah, except for
You didn't like the one I said. What did I say that you
you can't have everything
Yeah,
you
that's
want.
it.
Hey,
Anyway.
Bruce, this would be, it just seems like there's so much in it to talk about, and it seems like, I just feel like
Could
I've been
just go
on a trip
on, yeah.
down, just in
Oh, we have a
another world for
fascinating
the last
city.
half an hour.
A brilliant history.
I just want to ask you though, just before we wrap this one up, because when I'm either driving around the city or just exploring even the downtown area, there's just so much that's changing so quickly. There's so much building that's going on. It just seems like the city that we've known is disappearing before our eyes. I mean, and this goes back to what people are still coming here. You know?
Yes.
What
Yes.
kind of, I don't know, what do you have to say about that?
To say why people are coming here?
I don't know.
Now, why are they choosing Toronto as their home?
I mean, the city's changing so
Well,
quickly.
yes, of course. We are the most liberal city on earth. I mean, there is no city that can match us for the laws that we have to protect the average citizen here. I mean, we're way beyond United States and North Korea and China and France, Italy. I mean, we are so the best city when you travel and you see other places, and you come back and you just see how really well we have it here. The multicultural aspect of the city, the way that we seem to tell people, do whatever you want, but tell us why you're doing it. Don't hide. Share your culture with us. I mean, I think that's something
we're probably one of the only cities around that actually has clear-cut diverse ethnic neighborhoods, which are known for that, like
Yes.
Chinatown, Greek Town.
Sure, and though yes, other cities do have it, but here it's not a hidden, scary thing at all. I mean, the city moves so much, and it's a very safe city. I mean, we have so much to be thankful, and people really work to get to where we are.
I was going to ask you, why do you think it is the way that it is?
After the Second World War, I think remember, we were once a very racist, segregated city, and I think a lot of people forget just how bad we were. We were, not just men and women were separate, but Catholics and Protestants and Jews. I mean, there were signs up in windows, no Jews allowed, no Catholics
Christy
allowed,
Pitts especially.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
The Nazi riots we had here. I mean, we came from a very divided, segregated city that would shock anyone if obviously we're still like that. But after the Second World War, and especially as the 60s and 70s came with terrific mayors we had, like David Crombie and John Sewell, who really took us into the next where we are today. And we had great city councilors, and we really have made an effort to no longer be that very divided and segregated city we once were. But we were there. So I always tell people, come from other places. I mean, you might think we have it really good here, but we work to get here. And I tell that to people who come from countries that are having strife right now. So, you're so lucky. I said, well, we were exactly like you. We whipped women in the streets just like you did. We hanged people for treason, for saying things against the government. We were there at one time, but no longer.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, otherwise Jeanette would have been whipped
No, this
in the
never would
street
have happened.
a long time ago.
Jeanette would have started a revolution in the streets a long time ago.
And people like Jeanette did, and you and me.
Because whipping I don't take to.
No,
You know?
put those handcuffs in the basement. Sound appealing, don't they?
Not really.
Okay.
Okay.
Just joking around.
Time
Okay,
to.
Bruce, this has been great, and
Thanks.
I don't know if we can do this again, but
Sure.
we'd love to because it's been a real trip. So thank you for coming
Oh,
in
a
today.
pleasure. I love
And
it.
if people and you write a column
Yes,
regularly
a
in the
monthly
bulletin.
column and books, ebooks. I got 5 ebooks coming out, and you can buy a hardcover also. But lots of ebooks, and I do tours. Go to brucebelltours.ca, or just Google Bruce Bell. I'm the first one to come up. and you can book a tour. I have tours running every day. I need at least a few weeks' notice, because we're so heavily booked. I do all areas of, the downtown core, St. Lawrence Market and University of Toronto, Kensington, and Chinatown Distillery. The Brickworks we just added to our tours, which are fabulous in the Don Valley. I do bus tours, walking tours, and we fly to New York 4 times a year and do walking tours in New York and Chicago also.
Well, that's
Fantastic.
great.
All right.
All right, thank you very
Sounds
much.
like fun. I
Thanks.
would like to take one of your tours.
Please do.
Yeah. BruceBellTours.ca.
Yes.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice
Okay.
meeting you.
We're going to take a little break
And
now.
we'll
Then
be
we're going to come
right
back. Mark Lippman is
with
here.
Mark Lippman.
Paramedic.
Yes.
And more.
Gonna get
We'll
some
be right
great
back.
knowledge on that CPR today. Are we out?